Hello! We are going to go over telling time on the analog clock, and then we are going to go over what that will look like on a digital clock. Okay? First, let's go over the minute hand and the hour hand. Can you tell me which color hand or length hand is the minute hand? Is it the short red one, or is it the long blue one? Which one is the minute hand? The long blue hand would be the minute hand, the long hand. Some clocks don't have different colored hands, but it will always be the long hand. That's the minute hand. That means the short hand is the hour. On this clock, our hour hand is red. Again, on other clocks, it might not be red, but it will be the shortest hand. I explained this to many kids. The easiest way that I found to remember that is that when you look at the hour times, so the 12, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, those big numbers, there's only 12 on the clock. But if you look at the minutes, the 10, the 15, the 20, it goes all the way up to 60. That's a lot. You need a longer hand to fit all that time, okay? So longer hands, bigger hands for a higher number, if that makes sense. If that helps you, use that. If it doesn't, then we'll just keep practicing. So our first time, we're going to do 2 o'clock. Do you know where the minute hand needs to go and the hour hand to show me 2 o'clock? My minute hand, here, let's move my hour hand first. I know that 2 o'clock looks like this. My hour is 2, and for my minutes over here, it's just 0, 0. It's the beginning of an hour. So I don't have any minutes yet. I just have my hour, and it's just starting. So 2 and then 0, 0 on my digital clock. So I know my hour is up to 2. So I'm going to put my hour hand directly onto the 2. Not a little bit past it or before it, but right on the 2. My minute hand then will go right at the 12 or the 60. This represents the beginning of an hour. This means that my hour hand and minute hand have gone all the way around to start a new hour. So this is what 2 o'clock looks like. Okay, now let's try 3 o'clock. When I do 3 o'clock on a digital, it's the same thing. It's a fresh hour. So 3, and there's no minutes yet, so I'm going to do 0, 0. It's just like the 2 o'clock, right? So my hour hand for 2 o'clock, I had at the 2. Well, now my hour is 3, so I'm going to move my hour hand to the 3, directly on it. My minute, again, is 0. So I'm going to leave my minute hand where it's at the 12. This is showing me it is 3 o'clock. Okay, now we're going to try 5:30. How does 5:30 look on my digital clock? What do I put in my hour? On my hour side, I'll do 5. On my minute side, for 5:30, I'll put 30. This also means 5:30. To explain that, let me put my clock at 5 o'clock. So we're going to ignore this right now. Let's go and move my hour hand to the 5. Okay, right now my clock is showing 5 o'clock. Fresh hour, no minutes, just 5. Then, as time goes on, it's still 5 o'clock, but then my minute hand starts moving. And as my minute hand starts moving, my hour hand moves a little bit also. And as my minute hand keeps moving, so does my hour hand. It's not quite at the 6. It's not quite at the 5. But once my minute hand reaches that 30 right there, that means 30 minutes, and my hour hand is still in the zone of 5. It's not to the 6 yet for 6 o'clock. It's still in that 5 area. But it's pointing halfway past my 5. Do you see that? It's halfway past the 5, but it's not all the way to the 6 yet. It's not 6 o'clock yet. And my minute hand is pointing at the 30. Okay, let's try some other times. Let's try 10:30. What does that look like on my digital clock? What number do I put in my hours for 10:30? Good, I put a 10. So I'm going to write 10 here to help me. What do I put over here for my minutes for 10:30 or half past 10? Good, I put 30. All right. So does my minute hand move, or does it stay on my 30 right here? Does the 30 match? It does. My minute hand is showing what my minutes are over here. But my hour hand needs to move because it's no longer 5:30, it's 10:30. So where does my hour hand need to go? Directly on the 10 or half past the 10? It's half past. My hour hand will go half past the 10 to show half past 10. And my minute hand, because I know half past 10 also means 10:30, that my minute hand needs to be pointing at the 30 down here, or what looks like a large 6. And that would be 10:30. Alright, let's do another one. Let's do 12:30. What does that look like on my digital clock? What would go right here? A 12. Good. So I have 12. And then what goes for my minutes for 12:30? A 30. So I have 3, 0, 12:30. Now, let's see what that looks like on my analog clock. That's a funny name, isn't it? Analog. Alright. My hour here shows 12. But since it's half past 12 or 12:30, remember they mean the same thing. Does my hour hand go directly on the 12? Or does it go half past the 12? It goes half past. So I'm going to move my hour hand, the short hand, half past the 12. Where does my minute hand need to be pointing at? What minute are we showing on our clock? The 30, so it needs to be pointing directly at the 30 down here. Very good. Alright, let's do another one. You guys are going to be experts. Let's try 6:30. Okay, this one is going to be a little bit harder. For this one, I'm going to move my minute hand first, just so that you can see all the numbers that I need you to look at. Now, let's look at our digital clock. To show 6:30, what goes on my hour? 6. Good. Do you guys remember another way of saying 6:30? Half past 6. Very good. Half past 6 would be the same as 6:30. Or 5:30 would be the same as half past 5. Okay. For 6:30 or half past 6, what would go in my minute hand? A 30. Good. Minute side, I'm sorry. 6:30. Alright. Let's focus on our hour. Where does my hour need to go? My hour hand, my short hand here. What number should it be pointing at? Should it be directly on the 6? Is it 6 o'clock? Or should it be half past the 6 for 6:30? It should be half past. So let's move our hour hands half past the 6. Okay, we have 6:30. Now what about my minute hand here? Where should my minute hand be pointing? I have my hour hand half past the 6. Okay, now I need to look at this number, 30. If 30 is the minute, and I see all these little numbers here that represent minutes, where's the 30 at? It's by the 6, right? So move it back here. They're really close together, aren't they? I see that my hour hand is halfway past my 6, but it's not all the way to my 7 yet because it's not 7 o'clock. Alright? But my minute hand is also halfway across the whole clock. Isn't that cool? So for hours, the big red numbers, it's halfway past that for my hour hand. And my minute hand, if you look at all the minutes, those blue numbers, it's halfway past all of those as well. Pretty cool, huh? Last one. We're going to do it backwards. We're going to show it on this clock first. Do you think you can do it? I bet you can. Let's do 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. So where should my hour hand be? Is 8 o'clock the same as half past 8? Nope. 8:30 would be the same as half past 8, but we need 8 o'clock, which means my hour hand should be directly or half past the 8. Where should it be? It should be directly on my 8. Very good. My minute hand, should it be on the 30 or should it be up here? To be 8 o'clock. It should be directly up here. It's the start of a new hour, right? It's got to start at the beginning. All right. Now, what does 8 o'clock look like here? What's my hour for 8 o'clock? What's my hour hand pointing at? The 8. Very good. It's not to the 9. It's not past the 8. It's right on it. 8 o'clock. I know it's not half past 8 because my minute hand didn't go halfway across the clock. My minute hand has a fresh start right up here. So what do I put for 8 o'clock on this side for my minutes? 0, 0. Very good. All right. That is what we have on time today. Good job.